They call him Money Mayweather. 50 wins, 0 losses, over $1.2 billion in career earnings. This man didn't just win fights, he redefined what it meant to be rich in sports. The mountain of cash on the bed, the $18 billion watch, 2 private jets, the color-coded Rolls Royces. We all saw it. We all talked about it. But here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. It's 2026 and the money persona, the whole thing, is officially hitting a wall of reality. At 48 years old, Floyd Mayweather is not relaxing on a beach somewhere counting stacks. He is in panic mode. He's booking exhibition fights in the Congo and Greece. He's suing former partners for hundreds of millions of dollars. He is fighting eviction from a New York penthouse while claiming to own a $40 million real estate empire. The king of the money team is fighting for his financial life. And today, we're going behind the velvet rope to show you exactly how $1 billion evaporated into thin air. I'm Lionel B, and this is a story you needed to hear. Now, alright, let's start with something called the burn rate. In finance, your burn rate is how fast you're spending money. And Floyd's burn rate is basically a California wildfire. Let me walk you through it. He owns 2 Gulfstream private jets. Just to keep those birds in the sky, hangar fees, pilots, fuel, maintenance, insurance, and you're looking at somewhere between $4 million and $6 million a year per aircraft. That's up to $12 million a year just for the planes. Not trips, not vacations, just keeping them ready. Then you got the car fleets. White cars in Vegas, black cars in LA. Over 100 luxury vehicles, Bugattis, Ferraris, Rolls Royces, Lambos, all losing value the second the tires touch the pavement. Cars are not assets, cars are liabilities. And when you own 100 of them, that liability is catastrophic. In 2025, Floyd dropped $2.25 million on 4 luxury cars in a single day, then turned around and sued the dealership. That is not power moves, that is chaotic, impulsive spending with no financial strategy. And then there's the entourage. Look, I understand loyalty. Floyd came from nothing in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and he built his team. But we're talking dozens of bodyguards, personal assistants, chefs, drivers, stylists, a full entourage that he's still running at peak 2015 levels with 2025 income. Here's the fundamental problem with all of this. When Floyd was fighting Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor, he was pulling in $100 million, $200 million, $300 million a fight. That money could absorb the lifestyle, but those days are gone. The exhibition fight circuit pays a fraction of that, maybe 10 to 30 million. Before taxes, before the entourage, before the jets, before the cars. He is no longer living off the interest of his wealth. He is eating through the principal. And that, my friends, is how you go broke with a $1 billion name. Now let's talk about something a lot of people don't want to discuss because it hits different when you realize Floyd doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs, never has. He is famously clean living, but everybody has a drug. And Floyd's drug is adrenaline. When you have been fighting in front of 20,000 screaming people since you were a teenager, when your whole identity is built around the rush of competition, when you retire from the ring, that adrenaline has to go somewhere. And for Floyd, it went to the sports book. We've all seen the Instagram posts. Floyd holding winning tickets, massive payouts, flexing the wins, but here is what nobody shows you, the losses. And y'all, they are staggering. He reportedly lost $10 million on a single Super Bowl bet. Now think about this. When he wins at gambling, the IRS takes their cut, federal taxes and state taxes. When he loses, he eats the full $10 million. It is mathematically guaranteed death spiral. But it gets worse. In 2024, rumors exploded online that Floyd Mayweather was being detained in Dubai over massive gambling debts. Not to a casino, but to some very unregulated creditors. People who don't use lawyers. People who don't send polite letters. Now Floyd's team denied it, said it was just a misunderstanding, said he was there for business. But here's my question. When does a billionaire get stuck in a foreign country over a misunderstanding about cash? The answer is he doesn't, unless he's not actually a billionaire anymore. unless he is operating in a gray market of debt where his name and his brand are writing checks that his bank can't cash. And when you owe people who operate outside the legal system, you need cash. Fast, clean, no questions asked. Which explains why Floyd Mayweather is suddenly willing to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime, not for legacy, for liquidity. Now listen, I understand. Some of you might be saying, Lionel B, you don't know that. That is straight up speculation. So let's stop speculating. Let's go straight to the paper trail because the receipts are everywhere and they are damning. Receipt number 1, late 2025. Floyd Mayweather is sued for eviction from a luxury New York apartment. A man who publicly claims to own a $40 million real estate empire was reportedly more than $500,000 behind on rent. Not a mortgage, y'all, rent. He was renting. Receipt number 2. AJ's Jewelry in Miami files a lawsuit claiming Floyd walked out of their store with $1.6 million worth of jewelry, paid with 5 checks to cover it. You want to guess how many of those checks cleared? 0. Every single check bounced. Now, I've had a check bounce in my life and it's crazy embarrassing, but 5 checks for $1.6 million from a man with a $1 billion brand, that's not a bank error, that is cash flow crisis. Receipt number 3, Logan Paul. 5 years after their exhibition fight, Logan is still publicly claiming Floyd Mayweather owes him $1.5 million from their deal. And Logan is not a broke YouTuber anymore. He is a WWE champion with prime hydration money. He does not need to lie about $1.5 million, but he keeps saying it because Floyd hasn't paid him. Now y'all, when you connect the dots, jewelry, checks bouncing, rent going unpaid, fighters claiming non-payment, it looks less like isolated incidents and more like Mayweather Promotions is running a shell game, using money from new fights to plug holes from old debts. That is the definition of financial instability. Now receipt number 4, and this one is government official. After the Conor McGregor fight in 2017, Floyd earned somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 million. And yet the IRS filed a $22 million tax lien against him shortly because he did not have the liquid cash on hand to pay his taxes. Think about that. A man who just earned $300 million couldn't write a $22 million check without it being a problem because the money was already gone, spent before it was even fully deposited. Now I want to talk about something that requires some sensitivity because this part, it isn't funny. This part is actually tragic. A lot of you remember the story about 50 Cent challenging Floyd to read a full page of Harry Potter live on camera. People laughed at it and it became a meme. But underneath that meme is a reality that has devastating financial consequences.
This is a special ASLELS challenge for you, Floyd. If you can read one full page of a Harry Potter book, nigga, I'll give $750,000 to whatever charitable organization you want to. Fuck the bucket of ice, man. I got a phone call from my man Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy said if Floyd accepts the challenge, then he'll put it on the actual show so you can read it on the show. We don't want to put pressure on you. We know you can't pronounce those words in that Harry Potter book, so we're gonna let you read Cat in the Hat.
Whether it's a dyslexia, limited formal education, or something else entirely, if you are running a $1 billion empire and you cannot personally audit a 40-page legal contract, you are entirely at the mercy of people around you.
I'm Floyd Mayweather, and I've joined Heart Radio for the show. Your stripes, okay.
Your lawyers, your advisors, your managers, your inner circle. And if any of those people decides to exploit that blind spot, you would never know until it was too late. Which brings us, y'all, to February 2026. Floyd Mayweather files a $340 million lawsuit against Showtime and several former advisors, alleging that hundreds of millions of dollars from his biggest fights were quietly funneled into third-party accounts he never knew existed, under agreements he never personally reviewed. Now, Floyd's legal team claims that when they requested a full financial records and accounting documentation from Showtime, they were told the records were lost in a flood. Not misplaced, not delayed, lost in a flood on financial records worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, I want you all to sit with that for a second. because you genuinely cannot make this up. Now here's how I break this down. This lawsuit is either the most important lawsuit in boxing history, or it's the most expensive Hail Mary in sports financial history. There are really only two possibilities. Possibility one, Floyd's inner circle, the people he trusted and paid for decades, genuinely robbed him blind, exploiting his inability to audit and read his own contracts. And they got away with it for years because Floyd's brand was so big, the money kept flowing and nobody looked too closely at where it was actually going. Possibility two, Floyd is desperately trying to claw back any cash he can find to cover his mounting debts, and this lawsuit is a legal instrument designed to generate leverage, settlement offers, and press coverage that keeps investors and creditors nervous enough to give him some breathing room. Either way, the real story is the same. Floyd Mayweather, the man who branded himself the greatest financial mind in boxing, does not have control of his own money, and he may never have. So that brings us to right now, y'all, in 2026. And that's Floyd's current fight schedule. It actually tells you everything you need to know. He has a fight lined up in the Democratic Republic of Congo against a 60-year-old opponent. Now listen, I ain't knocking the Congo, great country, beautiful people, but Floyd Mayweather fighting there is not a legacy move. It's not a goodwill tour. It's a my private jet needs fuel move. It's taking any check available in any market that will cut it. Then there's an exhibition fight, y'all, in Greece against a retired kickboxer. The reason Greece, because it bypasses a Nevada State Athletic Commission's regulations, which means less oversight, lower costs, and a quicker payday. Floyd is optimizing for cash speed, not legacy. And finally, the rematch, Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather, reportedly being negotiated for the Sphere in Las Vegas, distributed on Netflix. Two legends in their late 40s, long past their prime, fighting for a streaming platform subscriber numbers. This isn't a victory lap, this is a fire sale of the only asset Floyd has left, his name. And the saddest part, the checks from these fights, even the Pacquiao rematch, will not solve the underlying problem. Because if the burn rate stays the same and the debt obligation keeps compounding, no single payday is large enough to fix what has been already broken. You cannot outrun a structural financial collapse with exhibition fight money. You need to change the structure, sell the jets, cut the entourage, downsize the lifestyle, invest the remainder. That's the only math that works. And that is exactly what Floyd Mayweather cannot bring himself to do. Now here's the truth that ties everything together. Floyd is not just broke or getting close to broke, he is a prisoner of his own brand. For 25 years, he constructed an identity. He showed the world that he was the richest, the smartest, the most untouchable man in sports. He was money. He was TBE, the best ever. He was a template. He was the guy who always won in the ring and outside of it. And the downsides now, to sell a jet, to let the entourage go, to move into a normal house, to say publicly the era is over, that would be a form of psychological suicide for Floyd Mayweather. Because the money persona isn't just a brand, it's his entire identity. It's how he processes his own worth as a human being. He would rather bounce checks to a jewelry store than admit the persona was partly a facade. He would rather fight a 60-year-old in the Congo than admit the big fights are done. He would rather file a $340 million lawsuit than sit quietly and restructure. And that right there is the real reason of Floyd Mayweather's story. Not just the bad investments or the gambling or the entourage, it's the psychological inability to separate self-worth from net worth. It's what happens when your entire identity is built on a number and the number starts going down. Mike Tyson went through it, MC Hammer went through it, and now in real time in 2026, Floyd Money Mayweather is going through it. The greatest defensive boxer who ever lived cannot defend himself against his own lifestyle. So I'll leave you with this question, and I want you to drop your answer in the comments right now. Is this the ultimate cautionary tale of the money team, or do you believe Mayweather still has one more comeback left? Not in the ring, but in the bank account. Now let me know what you think. I read every comment. I'm Lionel B. this has been another story that you needed to hear. Now, if this video hit different, make sure you like it, share it with somebody who needs to see it, and subscribe to the Lionel B Stories for more content like this. The main channel, The Lionel B Show, has everything else you need. Stay sharp, take care of your money, and I'll see you on the next one. Can't get enough? Click on the screen to watch even more fire content. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and you can also catch my videos on my other channels, the Lionel B Show Clips, Lionel B Stories, Lionel B's Garage, the Lionel B Network, and you can stream my audio on the go on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any other major podcast platforms.